Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh.
It's seems
Oh,
like it's been like a year since we've been on this show.
I know we've been so busy, but oh my gosh. It is really 2024.
Yes, it
You ready
is.
for this?
Oh yeah, look, I am so ready after all the things that went on in 2023. I'm so ready to hit the ground in 2024 running. And I
Mhm.
mean, the biggest piece now is just I saw there's a big need where we really need to educate people on the process because ooh um
I agree.
is boy 2023 was I mean it wasn't a bad year, but it was a year of crystal clear understanding that we need to do more as vendors to educate people on the process of what needs to happen and what to expect.
Well, I think that the biggest thing, and you're right, we need to really educate people, and I think the biggest thing is getting people to not do that. Well, this is the way I want to do it, and it's not that we're saying don't do it your way. We're just suggesting that you may need to tweak some of the ways that you're doing things
Right.
on your events, not to take away from the integrity of your event, but mainly to um, boost your event up. You know what I'm saying, on a better level than just I'm having a party, or I'm having a wedding, or I'm having a
Right.
whatever you wanted to call it. But I think that's one of the biggest things that we've been trying to do education. So I think with our mindset for 2024 is we're going to focus on education.
Right. And I think
Period.
that's why I said that. No, this month, across the board, not only with for like my the DJ side of my company, but just like the stuff for the community, different things, it's critical that we take time out to properly educate ourselves on how we can do better. And I think that's it doesn't matter what industry you're working, it doesn't matter what you're doing. We need to take the time out to really educate ourselves on process, like on the actual process on how things happen. We need to stop making assumptions in 2024.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely so.
I know assumptions is what really caused a lot of problems for a lot of my events in the year 2023. So I know those are some of the things that we really need to talk about. I mean, we're going to talk about, and I mean, and I guess not probably, maybe not, we probably won't get to it today, but we're going to get more into what really drives the event to be successful and unsuccessful.
Yeah, true, true.
So,
And ignore my little key thing in the background because I'm actually doing the sharing your post of what we're doing today real quick. So just ignore my little keystrokes.
okay.
I don't know how to make them silent.
Well, now you're good. So let me ask you this: so what's the takeaway from 2023 for you?
um, wow, that's a really hard one. Um, I've got a couple of them. One is getting clarification from people because, as you said, the assumptions of people can just take things from 0 to 100 very very quickly.
Right.
And not that I'm saying that anybody's jumping on anybody, anything like that. I'm just saying it can really like ruin a perfectly great event with the fact that there's a lot of assumptions going on and a lot of oh, I thought that was your job, but did you read your contract? Did you read the job
Right.
description? Did you read the detail sheets that I sent you to tell you exactly what we were doing and what we weren't? And there were things that we're not doing because we're not on that list. You know what I'm saying? There are that's one of the main things for me. And then another thing I take away from this year is from last year, I'm sorry, is that there are a lot of people who've never participated in weddings before, and it's getting to be where it's more and more of these couples and even individuals that are having their own birthday parties or retirement events or whatever they want to do. um they are they are so struck social media. It can be such a great tool,
Yeah,
but
it
it can
can be.
also be a tool. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because there are people that would just see all this stuff on social media and go, I want to do that. Do you know what that really costs?
Right.
And so I've taken away that people need to be a bit more realistic with their thought processes.
And I'm glad you said that because I think the biggest part about a event is your budget.
Yeah.
And I think the problem that causes a lot of issues is making bad assumptions
Oh boy.
in your budget for your vision. You have to focus your budget with your vision. If your vision is over the top, then your budget needs to be right there with it to support it. If your budget, like for example, budget, assumptions, and
Mm-hmm.
time is the
Wow.
killer to everything that we do in our industry.
Yeah.
If
It.
you don't have enough time to do it, then that's where that budget has to make up for it. And that's where people need to understand you can't just take $10 out of your pocket and go throw a birthday party.
True.
Now
Um.
that now it's just two people and y'all going to Mickey D's. I mean,
Okay.
that's the
Really.
only way you're gonna do that with 10. You're not gonna be able to get fries with your meals because $10 you only can do but so much. That's like a burger by itself.
Yeah. Because nowadays, if you and somebody else go to McDonald's, Burger King, or wherever, you're gonna spend about $12 to $15 just on the two of you, just on two people.
Shit, you
Um.
might as well say $20 now because it's like if God knows, don't look, don't go get a 10-piece meal. You get a 10-piece meal you want to, you might as well go ahead and pull that $20 out and don't expect no change.
I know that's right. That is about to be crazy.
But I think that's one of the things that people need to be a little bit more realistic is with your budget. It's like if you plan on doing, like for example, when it comes to events, like okay, we know weddings, we know family reunions, we know birthday parties.
Hmm.
Most of those items you're gonna have at least a 1 year worth of time
Oh, of
to
course.
hopefully plan it.
Yeah.
Um, once once you look at that 1 year, you can easily spread out how your budget is going to support your event. Um, Giving yourself enough time, it makes it easy for you to have the proper budget.
That it does.
But
But
when you shortchange yourself, like 2 weeks, I want to do an event,
here,
then most likely you're gonna have to spend a lot more money.
yeah, I would say that too. I think one of the things that kind of throws me a bit about people is that they seem to think that wedding planner or party planner means miracle worker. That's not really the thing. The miracles
What?
belong to the Most High. That's not
No,
what we
wait a
do.
minute. Time out. You don't have pixel dust to make things happen?
No, we do not. We don't even have like a um you know the little sack that you have with the magic marbles and stuff. We don't have any of that stuff. That's not in our world. Um, so it's like years ago, and this is years and years ago. I actually had a bride that reached out to me. I'll never forget this long as I live. Around February the 10th, and her wedding was actually February 21st or something like that. I had like 20 days, or I mean 11 days to get her wedding together. I was like, what? I pulled it off, but it took. When I tell you, I was crazy for those 11 days. I was completely insane for those 11 days. Um,
I can imagine.
but everything was done. Flowers, the venue. Well, she had already picked out the venue and the photographer. I had to arrange for the florals, the decor items, the DJ, the I think it was a videographer, and it was one other person. Oh, the officiant. So, but I did pull it together very quickly. But it was just a massive thing. Recently, I just had a bride who hired me to do her reception, and she was going to do her wedding somewhere out of the country, and literally called me about um, a week and a half before we were supposed to leave to go, to tell me that when I asked her in the beginning, did she have everything covered? She said yes. And then 10, 11 days before we were supposed to leave, is I don't have everything. What? We're going to a whole other country. And you ain't got wedding lights ready. You don't have what? Okay. I made sure everything was
Wow.
done, but people seem to think we can just wave a magic wand somewhere. Here's my ruler, a magic wand. I don't have none of this. I don't have a magic wand. And so I think, and then there entails, and this is just being realistic, the type of work that we do, and someone else may see it as the day of stuff or whatever, but literally, our work begins the day that you contact us, the day you hire us, the day everything. Because in the beginning, people are asking
Right.
for advice on DJs, venues, transportation, photographers, videographers, caterers, cake decorators, sweet treat provider. It's a lot that goes into the
Mhm.
job. And even as, and I want people to understand this, people don't hire planners in the beginning all the time. Some people do, but that's a small group, maybe like
Right.
18 to 25%, maybe. I'm really
Right.
saying 25. But the majority of people that end up hiring planners hire us somewhere there within the 60 days before their event. And I've had some that hire me 3 weeks before the event.
Yeah,
And I'm
because they see once they
forever.
hit that stress, once that stress level goes up, that's when they're ready to turn it over to somebody.
Yeah. But then they're dumping all their stress onto us.
Right.
And it's almost inconceivable that someone doesn't understand that we're not miracle workers. We can do a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. I know some incredible planners in this industry, that are not just in North Carolina, that are in South Carolina, that are in Maryland, that are in the DC area. I know quite a few, but
Right.
I just think that people forget that we're also human beings. I know you're a DJ entertainer, but that's not your only job. That's not the only hat that you wear. You are retired military. You're a husband. You're a son. You're a brother. You're a
Right.
parent. You
I
know,
mean,
people
and
forget.
and what we're talking, and I'm glad you said that because it's not like we work 24/7.
No, we don't.
But a lot of people would, they think that like if you pull back the curtain that we're constantly working events 24/7, and that's not the case.
No, it's not.
And so like what you're saying is extremely true. Is that and then go back to where people got to stop making these bad assumptions
Hmm.
that doing something at the last minute is okay. It's not okay.
No, it's not.
And that's why I think for 2024 we need to like take more time out to educate people on what right looks like. I mean, like for example, a budget, like okay, just because you now, and this is the thing I want people to understand. When you go out and you find a venue, and that venue is like $400, understand that price is never heard of for a venue. Understand that there's going to be a lot of restrictions in place in order for you to use that venue. So when you think you got a good deal, understand what comes with that deal.
I,
if, and then you need to understand what your contracts are going to look like when you're dealing with your vendors.
now here's the thing about the contracts. Um, and this is my personal opinion about contracts. So this is not blanket to you or anybody else. This is just my personal opinion about contracts.
Excuse
If you go to book a vendor or a venue, you should be able to take a copy of that contract and leave and read it and come back. Or they should email it to you prior to your meeting with them. Because I think you need to have the time to read it, understand it, and formulate your questions about it.
me.
You
Right,
follow what I'm saying? I send out what, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but I send out what I call dummy contracts, which is basically a blank contract, and I may key in some pertinent information based on our conversation, but I send it to my clients ahead of time. And the main reason I do this, and I tell them all the same thing. I've been saying this thing for 15 years, maybe longer. Um, this is for you to read over. If there's anything you don't understand, I can explain it to you. And if you want, you can take it to an attorney because an attorney made it for me. You know what I'm saying? So I do that at least 3 days to a week before I even meet with the client.
right,
I feel like it's important. And What bothers me about a lot of people is they will go to a venue. I'm not even gonna name one. I'm gonna say the outdoor garden center in your town or whatever. And they will jump on these contracts because they love the venue, but they haven't read a daggone thing, not
Right.
nothing, and haven't realized that the venue is only giving you 2 hours to set up, but you got 300 guests,
Right. And
and
I
then
think that's the
why your decorator's gonna charge you arm and leg because she got to bring in 20 people
right.
to get this thing done.
And I
You know,
think that's the part that what people need to understand is that when you go out and you're and like I said, contract, like I know like with mine is when I send a contract, I give them 7 days
mm-hmm,
to do all the homework necessary, because then you're not booked until I get the signed contract back with your deposit,
that's right.
and I
Retainer,
give them 7 days.
retainer.
Well, the retainer deposit, right? So those are things that people need to understand, and I think that's the problem is that when you have venues that don't practice that and they won't hold that venue slot. And I agree, sometimes you can't hold it because some people just don't come back.
Yeah, and but give them at least give them 3 to 5 days or a full week or whatever, just but a limited time.
Right.
Allow them to read over it, ask their questions, formulate their questions or whatever. Just give them time. But here's the other thing, and I don't want to pick on venues, but I'm gonna kind of point out some things about venues. Mm. Let's say you booked a local botanical garden in your city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of them will have two weddings in a day in the same area. Okay, some of them will make it so that you have to be in at a certain time and out at a certain time because they got somebody else coming in right behind you. Blah blah blah. I'm not a fan of that.
Me either. I
You should, if a person rents a venue, they should have it for the full day,
absolutely.
for at least 10 to 12 hours, because as a venue manager, owner, whatever, partner, whatever, you should realize that if your venue can hold, I'm gonna say 150 to 200 people, then you're getting 150 to 200 people count clients.
Right.
Also means you're getting 150 to 200 count guest count decorators that have to come in
Mm-hmm.
with all this stuff. Because honestly, if you never thought about it, let me hit you with this. If you say I got 100 guests, literally the setup is for 104 people as guests, because it's 8 people per table with most venues. Some of them
Right.
have 10 tops and some of them don't. Most of them
Right.
have 8 tops, which
Right.
means it's 8 people at the table. I'm sorry, I'm talking in lingo mode. I need to
Right.
get that. But that means every table has to be draped in a tablecloth.
Right.
Every table has to have either overlay or runner or whatever's supposed to go on it. They also have to have centerpieces. What if they don't have the really fancy chairs? That means they want chair covers. That have to be covered. A sash or a band have to go on it. What if they want charger plates? What if they want napkins on the table? What if they want the silverware on the table? All that has to be placed out. There's no way to pre-do any of that stuff. The only thing you can pre-do any of that stuff is steam it, press it, and have it ready to go. That's all you got.
Right.
My issue is so many venues are so interested in the money aspect, they're not concerned with the client's ability to pull off their event successfully. Because if that vendor decorator, I'm just gonna say decorator right now, that decorator is not finished in the 2 hours or 3 hours limited time that you give them, then guess what happens? They are the ones that are at fault
Right.
with that client. Not and the venue doesn't seem to take any responsibility because you don't allow us enough time.
Right.
And there's only so much stuff you can do. Like literally, I can't do feather centerpieces before I get to an event because well, I can do them, but most of the time you can't really do them because they don't travel well.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you put them in, truck, trailer, whatever, they don't really travel well. Um, Floral centerpieces, a lot of times, if you're doing silks, they travel very well. If you're doing live, you have to have a certain way that you travel those.
Right.
But the thing is that I don't think venues really think about the team of people that are coming in to provide the service. The DJs, listen to me carefully, people. Every DJ cannot get set up in 45 minutes to an hour. I'm
No.
sorry, they just can't.
No.
Especially if you're asking for TV monitors, Their full setup, and I'm just gonna say for a party right now because if it's a wedding, you've got a ceremony set up, the cocktail hour, and the reception. You can't do that in an hour. What if you want to up lights? What if you ask for?
Right. Most of the time, and I'm gonna say this though, I'm just I try to cut you off, but
Yeah.
to really reinforce that, like for example, if you just want music, I can set up everything within 1 hour, no
Hmm.
problem. But when you start talking about uplighting, selfie station,
Spotlight. Okay.
monogram, right?
Yeah.
Then you're now we're looking at least a 2 hour time for setup, and if you're going to the extreme, that's where like say for a wedding, and the DJ has to set up multiple systems,
Hmm.
then that's when you're looking at a 3 hour time frame.
Yep.
But those are things that people need to understand is that why would you cut yourself short anyways? If you're doing a party of any type, you need at least 2 hours for setup.
Yeah.
At least two. 1 hour setup is not capable, not unless you plan on doing nothing, no decoration, no decor, nothing. Then maybe you can do everything in 1 hour.
Yeah. Maybe.
But 2 hours, and that's why I say now I think that's what we need to get people's mindset is the 1 hour setup no longer exists.
Was
That
there?
is
Well, I was gonna say, was there ever 1 hour set? But there was 1 hour set one
yeah.
time.
Everybody for some reason like because the biggest people that set us up for failure with that 1 hour setup are venues
Yeah.
because what they'll do is they say okay we'll give you 1 hour for setup time and 1 hour time for breakdown time, which is not realistic.
Not at all.
If you have anything greater than 50 people, 1 hour setup time is not 1 hour breakdown time is not realistic.
Mm-mm.
Now if you got the money it can be realistic. If you want to pay for extra people to come in to do certain things it's realistic. But if you're trying to stay within a proper budget of doing your event, then all across the board, your time management killed a lot of my events in 2023.
Honey, let me tell you, that is, oh my God, you preach to the choir right now. The time management portion, and let me, because we're saying in a general term, so I want you to be a little bit more specific, because there are like several different things that's popped in my head. The venue time frame that allow us in and out.
That was the biggest part right there.
The customers, um, being on time for their own event. Um, the vendors being on time for their event. That's still
Right.
time management. And then the realization that what you're looking for or what you're asking us to do, is it realistic enough to say we can do it within a 2 hour span or 3 hour span or whatever. All of those aspects run into that time management. To be honest with you, it can be very difficult, to actually do all of the things that you need done within a 3 hour time span. Even if you give us 3 hours, it's rough. But we have to have a full team to do that. And a full team could be as many as 8 to 10 people to pull off an event, even if for like 100 people. But if we don't have enough time given to us ahead of time and on the back end, realistically, as a customer, you could lose your deposit that your refundable deposit. You could lose it because we might go over the time because you didn't allow enough time management for us to do our jobs at the beginning and at the end. That could be, cake decorators usually not affected by this unless they were running late or something like that. Food
Right.
vendors are not normally affected by this. DJs are affected. Photographers usually are not affected. Um, the videographers may or may not be affected. Your planner will definitely be affected. Your decorator will definitely be affected, because those jobs are usually the larger jobs are given to us as far as decorators because we have the largest, execution time.
Right.
Not saying our job is bigger than anybody else. I'm just saying
Y'all need more time.
yeah, we need way more time to get everything done, especially when you have a customer that knows exactly what they wanted. They've given you this assignment and you want to complete that assignment.
Right.
And if you're not allowed enough time, then you're gonna miss the mark.
And the
And
thing
that,
is, and that's and one of the other things that they have to take into consideration is the design of the venue. If you have a venue where you have only one door to where you can download and upload your equipment, then now you have to stagnate how your vendors are coming in, which a
and
lot of people don't. If you don't have a planner or coordinator, a
yeah,
lot of people don't understand that concept. Like if everybody shows up and everybody's trying to get in the
at
door,
12 o'clock,
right?
we
It's
just we're
like,
tripping all over each other trying to get in the door.
and then you still keep in mind you only have 2 hours. You still only have 2 hours, and everybody has to use the same door. That is something that people need to understand is that you have to take time out to really understand your logistics, understand your venue. If you have a venue that is very odd in shape and you have to maneuver around columns and things of that nature, again, you got all that got to be taken into consideration. But I think what's going on today, with today, is that people are not looking at things in a aspect of a successful setup, or even in some cases a successful breakdown. So when you have venues like one of the things I will say about the venue that I had this past Saturday is they gave the customer almost 3 days. They gave them a full day prior, the day of,
Uh-huh.
and the day after
Wow,
to clear and see, and then they only paid $600 for the venue.
that's
So
crazy.
that's very unique, and it's
Yeah.
very like because nowadays you don't get venues that like I know one venue in particular is you're going to get their venue for the whole weekend because they know of all the stress and requirements it takes.
Hmm.
When you have the more time you have, the less stress you're going to have.
But
The
unfortunately, we don't have enough venues that or venue owners. Let me say it that way, that truly understand that side of it. Because
right,
let me put it this way: there are so many new venues popping up and available. It's ridiculous. It's just
it
out
is.
of
Yes,
control. But here's the thing: they may offer. Let's say it's a venue that offers on-site decorating or in-house decorating. If they own the venue, guess what? They can start on Wednesday.
right, right,
If your event ain't till Saturday, they can start on. If they
right,
don't have nothing on Friday or Thursday or Wednesday, they can start early in the week. They can take their time about it.
right. And
You
it's
know.
more convenient, and that's why I say it's more convenient. It's less stress when you're able to go like if they're decent work, it's better to go with an in-house decorator than a decorator has to come in and set up, because the decorator has to set up is not going to get the same time as the in-house decorator.
Now I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that because I have had clients who book certain venues and the venues because they're familiar with me or my company, mostly my company, they will allow me extra time maybe the day before if they don't
Well,
have
that's
anything going on.
again that goes back to where if you're a partnership,
Yeah, like I there are several venues across the state
right?
and
I
in
mean,
the
because I'm the
country
same
that I
way
have.
as a DJ. Like I said, I have venues that will let me come in and set up a day or two prior,
Hmm.
just because. But like that's
Yeah,
not the norm, though.
true, very true, very true. And I guess I'm sorry, I just kind of wanted to say that that has happened because you were actually nixing out outside decorators. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that
No, I wasn't.
outside
I wasn't.
decorators
No, what I'm saying
are welcome.
is that when it comes to stress,
Well, we're gonna have stress regardless because we have
no,
clients.
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is okay. For example, if you have an in-house decorator at a venue,
Hmm.
that is one less thing you have to worry about because
But a lot of times the in-house decorators don't. I have to take some people out of my mind when I'm saying this because there are some in-house decorators that are at this level.
no,
Seriously,
no, I get that part. That's what I'm saying. I
but there are
get that
quite a
part.
few that are down here.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying at this point. I'm talking about the timing. Now, as far as quality, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But as far as time wise, if you're like I say again, if you're going with a basic event, and you're not looking for something that's over the top or
Mhm.
special design, then it's better to go with an in-house decorator versus an outside decorator because an outside decorator, and this is what I've seen for venues that offer in-house decorators
Uh-huh.
and they choose to go with an outside decorator. The key problem that I see is most of the time the outside decorator is not familiar enough to understand how to set up in the venue. The venue is going to be specialized in what they do. They're going to specialize on how they decor, how they do the decor. Now,
Now,
again, that's only if you have a qualified decorator in house.
now here's the thing. Um, and I was going somewhere with it before you kind of went to the left with a little bit for me. But here's the thing. I'm really specifically saying that when you have a venue that has an in-house decorator, they have all. I'm not gonna say every time, but they have a lot of time that they
Right.
can put into it. But most of the time, and that's the majority of venues, and some of them are adopting in people to do in-house, which is great. But a lot of times you have venues that don't have anybody that actually is on staff that does decor, that does centerpiece, that does florals, that does all that stuff. So customers or clients need to understand when you're booking whatever venue it is, um, you're asking someone to come into that space and create this gorgeous ambiance within this amount of time.
Right.
And that's you're asking for an impossible task. And I need you to be more realistic about what you're asking people to do. Because if you want me to do ceiling draping, draping the whole room and all that, I need the day before
Mm-hmm.
and the day of. You can't start at 1 o'clock. I need you to start about 5. Because
Right.
I'm gonna need the day before all day long, and then I'm gonna need a whole morning before the day of. If you're asking for these huge centerpieces that are like this freaking big, even though they could be live or silks, and you want me to put them on 25 tables, that's 200 guests, just so you know, with
Mm-hmm.
with 8 people at a table. That's 200 guest people. So if you want me to decorate 25 tables, I need a day before.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
you're not
again, and that's why I say it goes back to time because now they don't want to pay the money,
there you go.
and
So
that's why I said that,
budget.
and that's why I say that it becomes a factor where guess what? If you're doing in house, you don't have to pay that extra money.
Well, you still got to pay for the in-house decorations.
You got to pay for the decoration, but you're not paying for the time.
No, no, no. But
That's
if
a
you're
that's a
bringing
big
somebody
difference.
in,
Is
I have
because
to
like if you bring in your
pay.
own decor, just like for example, I'll say this. Like one, I remember, I will never forget this. This couple had to pay, I think it was like $1,500 more just for the time for the decorator to come and set up.
Mm-hmm,
So they paid $3,000 for the decorations and then additional 1,500 just for the time.
mm-hmm.
The decorator needed 8 hours to set up. The reason why she needed 8 hours, it was just her and her husband that was doing the setup. So you spend $1,500 because technically the decorator was not up to par of being able to do things within a proper timeline. There's a difference to where if you are doing, let's say, for example, if you're doing a wedding and you have 300 people, then it makes sense that you have 2, 3 days for decorating.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing a wedding and you only have 100 people and the decorator needs 8 hours, and I'm
The
not
man
talking
has
about,
an extreme amount of stuff that they have to pull together. Don't get me wrong. There, listen. I have done weddings where we only had 4 hours to set up, but I've had
the full
250
staff.
guests.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And only
Right.
had that one period of time to get it done. And where their centerpieces were 17 daggone things on the table, meaning glass
Mhm.
piece or whatever. And we pulled it off. We pulled it off mainly because when the ceremony started, it was in another space,
Right.
and
Right.
my team could keep working during that. The ceremony and concert hour. They had that hour and some change to keep working because we were not going to be done within 4 hours. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because of the amount of stuff we're doing and the amount of tables we're doing. But we ended up getting it done. But my biggest thing is we're talking about the time, but why aren't venues, I'm sorry, not vendors, but venues more vendor friendly?
Because it's
More
all about
accommodating?
money. Is you got too many people out here. They're more concerned about how much more money they can get. The thing is, a venue knows. they know that the venue needs. So what they do, they offer different packages. Okay, if you're doing something over the top, okay, we have a 12-hour package.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing something that where you don't need all this extra time, okay, we got a 10-hour package. And then you got this one package, like, okay, here's a 6-hour package or a 5-hour package.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that when you give people options that don't understand what these options mean, it sets the vendor team up for failure.
Very much so. And
So
that's what makes us. Now here's the thing about that. Not to cut you off, but when venues are like that, we consider them not friendly.
right, absolutely.
And you, as a venue, you end up losing money because then we spread the. Trust me, we talk to each other. We communicate with each other. Oh
Hmm.
my God, I had the most horrible time at XYZ venue, and this is why.
Right,
And we start talking. So then other planners, other decorators, other DJs, other photographers will know that your venue is not vendor friendly. So you
right.
end up
Oh,
losing in the
look,
end.
I got a perfect one for you. It's just like this one event I did this past year. Um, the venue, the person representing the venue, had to kick us out because he wanted to go home and eat and take a shower. And that venue is now on my new no service list because that was so unprofessional.
And I have an event at that venue next weekend.
Ooh.
You know I'm not
So,
looking forward
well,
to it.
I'm gonna tell you this, and this is what's so funny. Now, keep in mind, I had this venue within 2 weeks of each other.
Mhm.
So the first time I had them, okay, we had one person. Okay, he decided, okay, he's gonna kick us out because he wants to go eat. So he wouldn't leave us in the venue. He said, nope, nobody can be in the venue. Y'all gotta get out. I gotta go eat and take a shower and come back. So y'all gotta go somewhere for an hour, and then I'm gonna come back. Okay, so that was the first week I
Oh
had
my
the event.
God.
The very next week, I was talking to the client, and he booked the venue, and the venue he gave us only 1 hour for setup. And I was like, okay, well, we probably need to. Well, the venue said we can't get in early. We get to the venue, the person there's a whole other person. Oh, y'all could have came in at 3 o'clock.
Oh dear Lord.
So then
No
I'm saying,
communication. No communication. No
right.
communication.
So to me, and then he's like, well, wait a minute. The person I talked to before said we couldn't get in early. I don't know what he was talking about. I've been here since 3. You could have came in at 3. So then I knew right then and there this venue could no longer be on my service list because it sets me up for failure
Yeah,
as a vendor.
absolutely.
I can't go in like I want to go somewhere where I know I have 100% chance of success.
Yeah.
If I gotta go in and I'm not even 100% sure if things are gonna turn out successful before I even get there, then I can't do business with you as a venue.
And as of next weekend, when I'm done with my event there, I will no longer accept clients that have booked there
Right.
because
Because
I already know I've been there 3 times and I've not had a good experience at any time. And mind you, it was gaps in between the time. Like
right,
I didn't go 3 times last year.
right,
I literally went there for the first time about 15 or 16 years ago, and then a gap of several years, and then I went back again. Still had a negative experience. Several years passed, someone booked me, but they'd already booked the venue again. So this is number 4 for me, and this is my fourth and last time because I'm already in the I already feel it because of some negative um encounter. It's because of a negative encounter recently with someone there. So I'm actually going there on Friday, and I'm not looking forward to it. And the real thing, I'm gonna be truthful and honest. The real reason why this particular contact person that's there is not being very pleasant with me is because his wife is a decorator and she wanted the contract for this client and didn't get it.
and that's
Petty.
the other side of the business that we haven't talked about is the unprofessional side. But go ahead.
Oh my God. Why are you mad at me because the client picked me? I don't understand. But I've already gotten, this will be my second time meeting with him. And I've already gotten that negativity. And I feel like, and mind you, they don't even own the people that you're contacting with at that particular venue.
Don't own
Don't
it.
own the venue.
They don't own the venue.
They're
No.
representatives of the organization that owns the venue.
Right.
And it's really sad that they can be so. And these are grown people, like not 30 something. These are grown people, like
Grown.
grown like us with
Right.
grown children,
Right.
and some of them might be grandpas. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
they still like that. And
And I think that's the biggest thing is that like a lot of times clients need to understand like I have like again last year this person hired me or was going to hire me, but it's like okay, you understand when you hire a vendor, understand what it takes to say you hire a vendor. Just because someone talks about something doesn't mean that it happened or it's going to happen.
hello,
Paperwork has to be signed and money has to pass to hands before you are hired. And people need to understand that. Oh, I thought because we talked about no, I'm sorry, that doesn't how it works. But then when you decide to change your venue at the last minute, and then that venue is on my no service list, there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is return your money and wish you good luck if you gave me the money. But that's something that people need to understand is that, like, in our field, in order for us to be successful, we have to work with professionals.
yeah,
The moment we have someone who's not familiar or that is not on a professional level of conducting business,
hmm
it jeopardizes the entire event.
that it does.
And it's not that we're not being high and mighty or anything in that nature. It's just that you got to be able to work together as a team. And when we
Yeah,
go in
and we've
and we're doing
encountered that the anti team member.
the anti-team member,
Yeah, we've
and
encountered that.
it's always there's always, and that's what I said. Now I mean, in 2023, I think I've had to deal with that 3 times, which is not that's better than the last couple of years, but it's
Yeah,
just that when you have to deal with people and they are just not team players, um, it puts a bad taste in your mouth. And number one, it's like if you can't work together, what makes you think that the success of the event's going to be come out on top? Because, like I said, it takes professionals. Sometimes, as a professional, you have to suck it up and deal with it. But at the same time, if you was paying attention to what I was saying at the beginning, or whatever the case may be, then that could like now it's like let's say I just refuse to deal with individuals that go to these certain venues because I already know what the outcome is going to be.
yeah, yeah. And there's a non what's the word I'm looking for? There's a non capacity of um flexibility.
Right.
Um and the funny thing is, like, I remember there was a young lady who used to be here. I cannot think of her name right at the moment just because I'm trying to. I think it's Jordan. Remember Jordan?
Yeah, I remember Jordan.
Yeah. So she was the manager over at the
Skyview.
yeah, the Skyview and over at Rainbow Room. And Jordan was so cool about things. Um, if they didn't have an event on Friday and they worked because they were there at work, it was her and another girl that worked in there during the day. Because I remember the lady that was there before Jordan. And if they were in there and they'd already set the room up and everything, they would let you come in during the day
Right.
and go ahead and do some pre setup stuff because they understood what it took to make the room what it was supposed to be. Because before there were some times when people would just hire them in house, and then they rent from us, from planners or decorators or rental companies like myself or other places locally, and they knew the process and what it took to cover the chairs, to put bands on, to put sashes on, to put table linen on, they understood the process. So they would be more flexible when they could. If they didn't have anything going on Friday night, you could be in there Friday during the day.
Right.
You know,
And they were good for that. They were really good for that.
and I when I think about how venues do us now, I always think back to Jordan and how flexible she was. And I know the owners were, because I've met them too. They're really nice ladies. Um, I know that was a part of what they probably fed down to her to do, because they've always been concerned about customer service,
Hmm.
always since day one that I've met them, been involved with those two venues. They've always been concerned about customer service. Now, yes, there are rules. If, like, for instance, I was in Rainbow Room doing an event for a baby shower, doing a baby shower, and my client was an hour and some change late getting there with the baby, and the security guard was there, but I called the on-site, active manager that day,
Mhm.
and told them we were going to be an hour and a half behind. We're just going to throw our ending time off and going to throw my breakdown off and everything like that. Now, did they charge the extra time? Yes, they did. They have the right to do that. Not
Right,
mad about that. But the funny thing was that she only charged me half the price that they normally charge. You know what I'm saying?
right,
For that extra time, because she understood it, and my client happily paid it. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
Because she understood that she was late, blah 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 blah, and it wasn't really something like planned. It was the baby fell asleep.
right,
You know what I mean? And she was like, "Oh crap, I'll let him sleep for a minute," and then it ended up being way longer, and then it's a whole lot of stuff that happened. But when you have venues that, and again, you have policies. If you book from 8 hours or from 8 to 8 or whatever, I get it. If they go over the time, there is a penalty. That's in your contract. I totally understand that. But just being human and understanding that things happen sometimes. Sometimes people run late. I literally had a wedding that didn't start for over an hour late because a limo driver got lost
right.
going to pick up the bridal party
Yeah.
from a, what is it? What do they call them? Those Airbnb things.
Hmm.
Got lost a whole hour, and
Yeah, that's happened. Now that it hasn't didn't happen last year for me, but it has happened with a
yes,
limousine driver. Yes.
and I was freaking completely out. But and it's happened twice, I believe. Um, yeah, it's happened to me twice about the limo driver part anyway. And then I've had makeup artists that showed up late, or stylists, hairstylists that showed up late, which runs the whole bridal party behind.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So things happen, but I really I'm looking I'm really wanting to reach venue owners and remind them, I get it. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you don't want to stay late. But this is a business that you decided to start.
Right,
This is a business. No one forced you into this. No one had a gun to your head. And this business is in the service industry.
right.
This is the service industry. So there are times where you're going to have to do a little extra, make
Hmm.
some concessions, bend a little bit, maybe bend a rule or two, but have
Right.
compassion for people, and have respect for the
And I think that's what, and I believe is and
your
it's
people.
more of have understanding because like
Yes.
the biggest part is like for example, you have venues that have a package deal. Okay, that package deal is the best thing that's going for most clients.
Hmm.
Because you kind of get an idea of okay, if you're doing a wedding, you need a minimum of 10 hours for a venue.
Hmm.
Period. I don't care what you're doing. Whatever you need, 10 hours. Now you can get away with it if it's if they have a decorator on site
Hmm.
and you're using that service, then you can get away with maybe 6 7 hours because they're going to do
The
that
decoration's
from
already done when you get there.
right. You ain't got to worry about it. But the basic time frame that people need to get in the concept is if you're doing a wedding, you need 10 hours. Anything less than 10 hours, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I want people to. I mean, I want people. And then, like I said, for your basic events, the 1 hour thing is not effective. It's like I don't care. It's just not effective. Now, if you're doing your own thing and you're not hiring vendors, you're not hiring a DJ, you're not hiring a decorator, and you think 1 hour is a fun, no, okay, that's a complete different
Go
thing,
for it. Let me know how it works out.
right?
Let me know
But
how.
when you're hiring professionals, you need to give yourself at least 2 hours, a minimum of 2 hours to do a basic event, and
And let
then
me
if
say,
it
and
goes,
let me tell you this right here. Let me just interrupt. I don't want to interrupt you, but I need to interrupt for 1 second. Understand this. As a decorator, when we're packing our cargo van, trailer, truck, or whatever we're driving or whatever we're bringing there, you can best believe it's going to take us about 25 to 35 minutes just to unpack
right,
that vehicle, let alone get it all inside the building.
right,
hell, almost an hour of our time is gone from the beginning.
Right.
Just trying to get in the building, get unpacked, get in the building, and get it organized, so we can start pulling everything and start setting up. It's
Right.
not like a I'm not Genie. Can't wiggle my nose. I don't even know how to wiggle my nose, but you can't do that to make it all just magically appear. That's a part of the time, because you're talking anywhere from 20, like at least 25 to 30 minutes just to unpack stuff, and then you're talking about at least another 20 minutes or so just to get everything in the building,
Right.
and then organize it, and then start. So there's an hour gone right there. Oh,
And then
hour.
again, go back to the scenario. If you have to go up any stairs, or if you have to go maneuver your vehicle in a parking area
Oh my
because
God.
you don't have the parking space close to the
That's a country
building.
mile from the building or the door.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff. That's why I say 1 hour is no longer. And I wish venues would understand that 1 hour is you giving someone 1 hour as a complimentary thing. You're not okay. You're not doing us as vendors any justice
None.
because that 1 hour is a false hope of things can be done. I think in 2024 we need to, as vendors, we need to stress that to our venues
Mm-hmm.
that a 1 hour setup is not realistic at all. Period.
A 2 hour setup is not realistic either. But I'm just saying.
It's I would take a 2 hour over a 1 hour any day.
That would be for you. I need 3 to 4 hours
No,
all
no,
day.
but I'm saying though, I'm talking about like your basic events. I'm not talking about your
Listen, when
like
you say basic event, tell me what you're talking about, because in my
we're
mind,
talking about basic
every event
event. There's like
requires
in most
table
cases
covers, chair covers.
they're not doing any major like decoration or decor. It's just very basic. That means they got maybe a tablecloth and maybe a small centerpiece.
Okay.
That's a basic event.
Okay.
When you're going over the top, that's when you got. That means you're talking about centerpiece, tablecloth, chargers, chair covers. Then that's a whole different thing.
Backdrops.
Right, because just like
Yeah.
the birthday party I did on Friday, that was a basic event. All I did was put tablecloths and centerpieces. That was it. So that's a very basic event. You could do that within 2 hours. You can't do chair covers in 2 hours. If you say chair covers for any chairs that are for a decorator, you need, especially if it's 100 people or more, it's going to take an hour just to do chair covers, depending on how many people they got.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I say that 1 hour is not a realistic time for anybody. But if it's a basic event, the minimum time should be at least 2 hours.
I disagree. It needs to be at least 3 hours.
No, what I'm saying basic now.
I'm still saying 3 hours.
Because the problem that you run into is a 3 hour will make a major difference.
Only if the venue has time limits. That's the thing. Like if they have unreasonable time limits.
Right. So
Again,
that
like I said, it could be an hour just of our time, just getting everything unpacked in the building. So even if we show up 45 minutes early, we still got to get everything in the building.
now and the thing is just what I'm saying is that I'm saying this more so for the customer
Uh-huh.
versus the venue. The venue, this is a reason why I'm saying this is like the venue. What they do is they say we're gonna give you a complimentary hour for
I get
setup.
it. I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like out loud, I need customers to understand how that is damn near impossible to
Right.
do.
That's what I'm saying. It's like so a complimentary hour means nothing. Is what I'm getting at.
And
A
2 hours
complimentary
really
hour,
don't mean much either, because
but
2 hour setup only allows you about an hour and a half to get done.
well but it's more realistic than a 1 hour.
No, yeah, true, but it's more realistic if it's 3 hours.
Well, see, 3 hours, then now the venue, now you're jumping into a whole other package, anyways.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That goes back to budget. If you want all this stuff, you best believe you're gonna have to give time for all
Right.
this
So
stuff.
that's what I'm saying is that
Yeah,
like 1 hour add an additional hour. But see, most time when you go 3 hours now, you're talking about a whole other package deal.
and that's what you need to do. Upgrade.
If you need it.
If you're asking for a whole bunch of stuff,
Right. If you
you got
need it, and that's why I say there's a difference between a basic, because like a lot of people don't do outside of weddings. A lot of people don't do like major decor. Now that's just like a 50th birthday party or a quinceañera or a sweet 16. But like if someone's just throwing a 30th birthday party, they're not doing anything over the top. If there's someone just throwing this, so that's what I'm saying. It's like it depends on what it is. If it falls into one of those major categories, a major category is a wedding, anniversary, 50th birthday party, a sweet 16, a 21st birthday. Those are the major ones. Every now and then you get that odd one where they want to do something for their 40th birthday party or they want to go big on this. The go big events are the ones I'm talking about where
yeah,
you have, then you require more time. Because then at that point in time, you need to get venue for the entire day, anyways. You don't need
true.
to deal with you don't need to deal with these venues because like when you're dealing with a venue that has like strict timelines, like okay, well yeah, I'll give you the venue for only 5 hours. You get 4 hours that you pay for one company hour. That means nothing to us. So I want people to stop being cheap and be more realistic of what their vision is.
Here's my thing about that, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get people mad at me when I say it, but events cost money,
They do. They
and
do.
I need people to stop seeing or assuming or guessing. Research this stuff so that you can understand what it will take financially to pull off this event that you want to do. I don't care if it is your 50th birthday or 40th birthday or 30th birthday, your retirement, your anniversary party, your wedding, whatever. Research some stuff. Let me tell you something. Dr. Google can tell you a whole lot of stuff out there. I'm telling you. There's a whole lot of information out there on Google. I don't know about the other search engines like Bing and all them, but I know on Google, in my household, we call it Dr. Google. Because you can ask Dr. Google anything and he's going to give you an answer. Do your
Right.
research and stop assuming, oh, well, I've got $1,500, but you want 100 people there. What
Hmm.
you got $1,500 from? The building? I mean, good luck with that because you're not being realistic.
Right.
And
And
I'm
we
not
need.
saying it to be mean, it's just being honest. Like you cannot expect to have listen, my mother says it has been saying this for years. People want champagne and caviar events with beer and pretzel budgets.
Hmm.
Stop it. Just stop it. Be realistic and be honest with yourself. If you can't afford to do it, you can't have the money to do it right now, then don't do it. Not
Right.
to on that end. You can like don't get me wrong. I didn't go to Justice Peace to get married when I got married to my husband. But I did go to Justice Peace when I got married before my husband. Okay? Because at that time I really didn't want to do a wedding, but we really didn't have the money to do a big wedding. So we just went Justice Peace. We still got married.
Right.
So there's some things and you plan for that. Like if you just got engaged or you over the holidays, you're not trying to get married in the next 6 months. You might be want to be trying to get married next 12 to 18 months to give yourself time to get to that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And you can have that big over the top or highly simplistic whatever with 100 people or 200 people, whatever, if you plan correctly.
Right.
That's all you got to just plan.
Absolutely. And I think that's I think that's where people need to understand. Going back to like, and I stress this because if we're not as vendors, as venues, if we're not telling the customer what's right and what's wrong, then we're just as wrong. We should not. We should highly recommend to the client what is required, what is
Yeah,
necessary for things to go well.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, and I think what is some clients or some let me say some vendors and some venues are afraid of losing that client to where they rather just let them find out the hard way versus tell them the truth.
And that's just wrong.
And I think
I'm not
that's
gonna
where,
say
as
it again, it's just
professionals,
wrong.
we need to tell them, hey, look, you want all this stuff. It's going to take at least a whole day and a half to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but what people will do is they'll go, okay, they'll go and they'll start to have to pull people and actually hire people to come in to meet a timeline that from the beginning was not, it wasn't realistic from the beginning. So that's why I said that it's like we're doing it to ourselves as an industry. In our first line of defense, in most cases, as our venue, if our venue does not understand what customer service is all about, and they don't understand what it takes to be successful for the team,
Mm-hmm.
then we can't do business with that venue. I think that's the critical thing. If I'm going to a venue and the venue is being hardcore about things, then I don't want to go back to that venue.
Yeah, that's
Honestly don't want to go back to the venue. If I see that every time I do an event at your venue, you got your customer want to fight you, oh, I'm not going back there. And I think that's what it is
or
because, or it's a misinterpretation every
mhm.
single time we go to the venue. No, it's time to let that venue go. And people are like, oh, what's the big deal? Okay, well, you know what? You don't work in our field, so you don't understand that this is a setup for failure. When one thing, if the venue fails, don't we all fail?
Yep, we do.
I mean, it doesn't matter if I go into the venue and it's December or January and the heat doesn't work. Does that make the whole entire event fail?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
everybody's gonna be too cold to where they ain't gonna want to stay in it. They can't enjoy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a venue and there's only one parking spot and you got 50 people coming, um, how's that? How's that gonna? How's that gonna turn out? And I need, and that's what I say because what clients are doing is they're focusing on the dollar versus the logistics of
Yeah,
what is it going to take for it to be a successful event.
that's the thing. The let me put it in another way before I say that. Tell me one of the major reasons you became a DJ entertainer.
It's because I like to have fun with. I mean, I like to take someone's event and take it to another level. I want them to have as much fun as possible.
So you're customer oriented,
Right.
okay? So a lot of these new pop up, I'm not gonna say new, but like these people that are really unqualified. I'm gonna be very honest and blunt about that part. But these newer DJs, newer or even older DJs are just out here doing BS out here service wise, um, or planners or decorators or whatever. The newer ones are the ones that are people. There are people that don't that are focused on the money and not the service.
Right.
That's the problem. And when you have when you have that mentality that it's about the money, then nothing that you do is service oriented.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, as I said earlier, this is a service industry, period.
Uh
That's
huh.
what we do. We provide services for people, you know.
Right.
And if you're not in this for the service of others and to bring happiness, because that was my reasoning. I like the joy I saw, in people's face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll tell you a short story. When my brother, I have a half brother named Michael, and years and years and years ago, he was getting married, and I'm gonna skip all the other stuff that happened before the wedding, but the day of the wedding, I was standing across from him because I was actually the maid of honor, and
Right.
I looked at his face when the doors opened and his wife was coming through. I looked at his face and like pure love on his face, just pure, unadulterated, just absolutely genuine love on his face,
Mm-hmm.
and that image is still in my mind 20 something years later. Like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I wanted to see that again and again and again and again. And at this rate, at being in business for 25 years, I still cry at weddings.
Mm.
Even though I can do, I don't know, 40 weddings in a year sometimes, I still cry at weddings because it kind of it's a multitude of things that mix in together. But um, as we're planning a wedding, you and the bride tend to get pretty tight, or y'all talk a lot. You have lunch or dinner together, stuff like that. So when that and then plus I didn't have any daughters. I only had sons, so I they kind of feel the need for me to have a daughter or whatever to a certain extent.
Right.
But the thing about it is that the reason I got into it had nothing to do with money. It was about that that amazing gaze, that amazing look on people's faces when they are truly in love with their partner.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a man, woman, man, man, woman, woman. I don't really care. It it's just that look, and when
Mm-hmm.
you see it, and it's so beautiful. And I really take in that look, and that was my reason for starting in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's so many people that are in the industry for monetary reasons and not the service side. And that's the sad part because we're losing a battle. We're trying to clean up the industry and make it better. We're losing a battle to those that are looking for the money, the
Right.
money, the money, the money. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a sad thing because we're dealing with that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much awful, to be honest with you. Um,
It is.
it's,
And I think that's why, but that's why the actual service has gone down
hmm
because the focus has shifted to where it's more about the money than it is anything else.
yeah, you're right. It is. And that's the sad part. And until people genuinely care, which don't get me wrong, we're in this to make money, yeah, because we started businesses. So of course we're looking to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the top. Listen, if you just joined, I don't know, if you want to be a stockbroker just to make money, you want to be you became a truck driver just to make money, or you became an event planner just to make money, then your heart's not in it, which means you're not really going to care if that event goes left, right, or center.
Mm-hmm.
But there are plenty of us out here that actually care if it goes left, right, or center. We want
Right.
it to stay this way because it's the happy trail. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Not
Mm-hmm.
the negative trails. We want the happy trail. So if you're one of the ones that are in it for just the dollar bills or the Benjamins or stacks or whatever they call them nowadays, the cheese, the cheddar, whatever, then you're in the wrong industry. You're not serving the industry the way it should be.
Right.
And I'm not going to be disrespectful or anything like that. But
Hello. Hello. Uh-oh, did it cut off? It froze up on us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much like I said, like what we're trying to cover today was we're able to just we wanted to really go into detail and kind of explain the problems that we ran into in 2023 and what everyone should be focusing on in 2024. If you're doing events, the biggest part that we were covering today was the budget and how the budget really needs to meet the vision of as a client. You need to understand what you're getting yourself into, and you understand what it's going to cost you. And it's crucial to where you take time out to understand um, what comes with the territory of.
sorry,
Uh,
y'all, I'm back. My
okay, there we
computer
go.
said no,
I was just kind
and
of
it's cut
summar.
out.
I was summarizing because you cut out. So I went into the summary of
That's
everything that we
okay.
were talking
Go ahead.
about.
Go ahead.
So that's one of the things that we're me and Tish were here talking about today is it's 2024 and we really want people to like if you got an event in 2024, please take a moment. I mean, like I know Tish doesn't mind. If you have questions and you want to ask us questions, please reach out to us. We have no problem asking questions.
Not a problem in the world.
We would rather because it's to us, it's about the actual success of the event. It's not about the money. It's not about the dollar. So take time out, call us, and we'll have a conversation. We'll take time out.
I mean,
What?
if you want to post our numbers up there or whatever, you can do that too. Listen, I don't listen, this is a funny thing. On my team, this will tell you how broad my mind is, how wide my mind is. On my team, I literally have two other planners and decorators that work part time with me. Any information they need, any guidance they need, any pricing information, anything they need, they know they can call me and ask me, and I'll give it to them immediately. Because I'm not about, listen, I'm in my 50s. So I'm gonna stop in this industry after a while. I'm gonna retire in a few years. So I feel like it's important to pass on any knowledge that I have accumulated over the years. I think it's more important to pass it, pay it forward to someone else. And so if you have a question, even if you're not a planner or decorator and you're wanting to plan an event and you want to know, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z. How do I start that out? Just call me, text me, inbox me, whatever, and I will help you. If there's something I can help you with, I will help you. I don't mind that because at the end of the day, even if you don't book with me, I want you to book with someone who's going to be honest, who's going to help
Important.
you, and who's
Important.
going to guide you the right way. If they're not giving you the right information, trust me, I'm going to try my best to get it for you. If
It's
I
so
don't know the
important.
answer, I will find the answer for you because I never want to see anybody's event fail.
Me
That
either. I
that.
would take time out to, I mean, especially I know like sometimes when people call and they looking for a DJ,
Mhm.
and I like with this last wedding I just took on this last, it was like a last minute wedding, and it was like they were like, hey, we need a DJ, this and so forth, and I was like, well, I already had an event scheduled for that day,
Uh-huh.
so I was just gonna pass them on to somebody else. But then when they told me where they were having the event, I knew then, okay, that venue requires that the DJ has, you have to have insurance.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, well, dang, if they have to have insurance, then it's not going to be easy for you to find a last minute DJ. So I had to step outside of my I guess you'd say my comfort zone
Uh-huh.
and reach out, make changes just to make sure I was able to help them.
Mhm.
And so I took on their wedding because I have as a DJ company, I have insurance, so it meets the requirement in
Mhm.
order for them for the DJ to DJ out there.
Got you.
And so that's where like a lot of times is and that's why I tell a lot of people when I get all these phone calls, okay, I'm booked. I will try my hardest to direct them in the right direction
That's me.
to the right DJ.
I'll refer you to another planner, another decorator, another rental company if I don't have availability. I'm that person because I just feel like it's super important to make sure that people have what they need. You know, um, it's not like we've never had an event of our own. Please know that we've had events of our own,
Right,
like a wedding or a vow renewal. My brother just did, and a birthday party. I've had a birthday party slash celebrating my 20 years in business. Like we've had kids parties.
hmm
Our my adult son graduating from culinary school. Like we've had personal events as well. So we
right,
know the pressures and the stresses and all. We
right,
get it.
absolutely,
We've had to pay vendors and venues ourselves. We've had to do that too. So it's not coming from a place of we've never done it. We've done those events.
yeah. We've
I,
been
I,
well, we've been the vendor and the customer, so
there
yeah,
you
we
go.
so we
We've been on both
understand.
sides. So please know that when we're saying things on this podcast, we're not looking to bash anybody, bash any venue, bash any vendors. We're just looking or bash any customers. We're just looking to educate people to allow you to um, not fall in a hole somewhere or not stumble over your feet somewhere or not miss out on the excitement and genuine being pleased with your event. Who
Right,
doesn't want to be happy with your
absolutely,
event? You know?
absolutely.
So, but anyway, so I know we've been on it. We came in late today, guys. I'm sorry about that. We were having a really deep discussion before we got on air.
Yeah, because we were the first ones that kind of like set the pace on how we want to talk
Yeah.
start at the beginning
So,
of the year.
but we're going to be really, I really promise you it's going to be going on through the month of February. This particular thing, because we only hit on like two of our list of 8 or 9 things that we want to talk about
Hmm.
starting off the year. But we want you guys to have a great day, have a great new year. Please know that um, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. And in the Bible, 8 is the number of new beginnings. This will be your year, be it the new job, new home, new baby, or growth in your business, growth in your spirituality, this is your year. And take it in
Absolutely.
and enjoy it.
This is the year. This is the year. This is the year.
This is it.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the show. We're like I said, I think we're gonna get things back on track. I know normally what it for us is January, February, March. The months are kind of slow, so we're able to maintain this show. And then as soon as March hits, that's when we start to have to cut back. So we're gonna, like I said, that's why our focus point is to educate, educate, educate.
Mhm.
And again, if you can't meet the show, I mean, these are our phone numbers. Please, I mean, if you have questions, to reach out to us, ask. We will be happy to help you.
And please know there's no question that's a dumb question.
Right.
If you've never done this before, or you don't remember if you did it back in the day or what, it's okay. Ask a question. I
Ask,
have two
please.
special needs sons who know. Ask me anything.
Right.
Just ask. Okay? But you guys have a great day.
All right.
Have a super week. This is the first week of the year. We're on day 3.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're on day 3 of the year. So I want you guys that we're in Capricorn season right now. That's not my season, but we're in Capricorn season right now. But I want you guys to have a wonderful week and know that you are loved, you are valued, you are amazing, and you are blessed. Have a great day.
All right. See y'all later. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Bye.
Dun, dun, dun.